This is an instructional video on both creating and interpreting qualitative graphs. Qualitative graphs are descriptive graphs, meaning they do not contain any numbers. Instead, we use words to describe what is happening on the graph. There are certain sets of keywords that we use to mean three different things. So if you see the word rests, stops, was constant, or stayed the same, that means it's going to be a straight, horizontal line. It's going to go side to side. The word rose, increased, or gained, or any other term meaning the same thing, is going to be a line going up. The word dropped, lost, or decreased is going to be a line going down. So in this graph, we can see that we are talking about distance from home and time. In the story, it says that Justin takes the bus home from school. He gets off the bus, walks a short distance to his friend's house, and stops to talk. Then he walks to his house. Sketch a graph for this story that compares distance from home to time. Explain your graph. So if we're doing distance from home, this point down here at 0, that's going to be at home. When he's at 0, he is at home. So if he's going home from school, that means he's not at home, meaning our graph needs to start up here at the top. So he's going to get off the bus and he's going to walk a short distance. So that means we're going to get close to home. We're going home. We're getting closer to our line. Then he's going to stop to talk at a friend's house. That stopping is represented by a straight horizontal line. Then he walks to his house. So then he walks home. And again, at this point down here at the bottom, at 0, our 0 line here is going to represent being at home. So for this problem, our graph, we're talking about distance from work. So that means that our line down here, this 0 point, is going to be at work. By reading the story, we can place our points on the graph. So Adele starts driving home from work. So we're starting at work and we are driving home. So our line's going to go up. We're going away from work. On the way home, she stops at the grocery store. So it's going to be a straight line. She then drives home at a slower rate. So this time we're going to go up slower than we did the first time. Notice the steepness of this graph is not as high as the steepness of the first section. So for this graph, we're talking about distance ridden. Remember, this point down here at 0 is going to be 0 distance. So that means they haven't gone anywhere. We can use this information to read the story and plot our graph. Jacob and Angel are riding bikes on a bike trail. The first part of the trail is steep, so they ride at a slow rate. A slow rate means it goes up slowly. Halfway up, they stop and rest. They stop and rest for several minutes. That's a straight horizontal line. Then they slowly continue up the steep part, so we're still going slow. After reaching the highest part of the trail, they ride down at a constant rate that is faster than they rode up the first part of the trail. So we're going to go faster this time. We're going to go fast down. Almost straight down. Notice how steep this part of the graph is compared to the slower sections in blue. For this graph, we're talking about sales. So our 0 line is going to be 0 sales. When we read our story, it says sales of computers at TechSmart decrease at a constant rate. So that tells us that we're going to start at the top and we're going to decrease. Then it says that sales level off and stay the same for a couple of months. So it's going to be a straight horizontal line. Sales decrease again, so we're going to keep going down for a couple of months. And then they finally increase gradually through the end of the year. So we're going to go back up. We're just following the words in the word problem to draw the graph at the right. Use the descriptions below to sketch a distance versus time graph showing Tyra's distance from her science class. So remember, this is distance from class. So this 0 point down here is going to be at class. She's 0 distance away. She's at class. So for letter A, Tyra left the science classroom. So that tells me that we're at class and we leave it. So that's part A. Halfway there, she realizes she forgot the hall pass and went back to get it. So she goes back to class. That's letter B. Letter C, Tyra walked to the restroom with the hall pass. So there she goes. She walked all the way to the restroom. Letter D, Tyra used the restroom and washed her hands. She's not going anywhere. She's staying in one section. She's staying in the restroom. Tyra remembered her teacher told her to hurry, so she quickly walked back to class. The word quickly tells me that we have to go fast, so we make that a steep line. She almost ran through the hallway. She was going so fast. Make that a steep line. Now for this problem, the graph is already drawn for us. We're talking about distance from the ground. So down here at the bottom, he's at the ground. It says this graph shows a carpenter's distance from the ground while working on a house. Describe what could be happening in each section of the graph. So for this, we are going to talk about each letter. So we're going to talk about A, we're going to talk about B, C, D, E, and F. We're going to talk about each letter individually. So in letter A, you can tell the line is going up, so he's going off the ground. So we're going to say that he's climbing a ladder. The carpenter, that's somebody that works on a house. Climbs the ladder. We can see in section B that the line is straight, meaning he's staying up high. He's away from the ground. So in section B, we can say he's working on the roof. Again, you get to create your own story in these scenarios, as long as the story matches the graph. Letter C is going down, so we can say that the carpenter goes down the ladder. For letter D, he stays down here at the bottom, meaning he's staying on the ground. So we could say that the carpenter eats lunch on the ground. We could say he takes a break to eat lunch. Letter E, he's going back up, so we can say the carpenter climbs the ladder again. And in letter F, it's a straight horizontal line where it's up high, so we can say that the carpenter stays on the roof to finish working. This graph shows the speed of a car on a city street. Describe and interpret section C of the graph. So looking here, we're talking about speed, meaning our 0 point is going to be 0 speed. So if we're looking at letter C is here, this straight horizontal line at 0, so that means he was going 0 speed. Letter C represents 0 speed, meaning the car is stopped. Whether that be at a stop sign, a stoplight, the store, wherever it is, the car is stopped because the speed is 0. Summarize the graph showing the speed of the roller coaster. So again, we're talking about speed. Our 0 point would be 0 speed. If this is a roller coaster, that means the roller coaster starts off at a speed of 0. The roller coaster increases speed. That's most likely when it takes off. It decreases speed, most likely as it goes uphill. It increases speed as it goes down the hill. And then it decreases speed until it stops back at the station. We're going to take that information from the graph and we're going to create a story to fit it. We're going to say that the roller coaster increases speed as it leaves the station. It decreases speed as it goes uphill. It increases speed as it goes downhill. And it finally decreases speed as the ride ends. This graph shows Raj's distance from school as he walks home at the end of the day. Describe what could be happening during each section of the graph. So we're talking distance from school, meaning this point here at 0 is going to be 0 distance, meaning he is at school. So we're talking about each letter, letter A, B, C, and D. So in letter A, he's at school and he goes away from school. So we could say that Raj leaves school. In letter B, that's a straight horizontal line. So we could say that Raj stops at a friend's house. In letter C, we see it's back here at this 0 line, meaning he's back at school. We could say Raj goes back to school. Because he forgot something. And then the last section, letter D, it's further than letter A, meaning he goes all the way home. Raj goes straight home.